All right, I'm just going to go ahead and get started because we're a little bit after 9. I know we have several people that are attending through Facebook Live today. So hello everybody out there on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. I'm Graham Dodge. I'm the Executive Director of Magic. We are one of the community sponsors here for 1 Million Cups. We do a lot of community education, technology education here in Westminster and around the region, along with innovation projects like the Autonomous Corridor project. So you may see me driving around a purple car that says Autonomous Corridor. That's me. Also, thank you to Startup Portal for providing the space. This is where we are today at Startup Portal. Thank you to Rick Leinbach from Startup Portal for hosting. And then also thank you to Jeannie Bird Baking Company for providing the scones, the pastries, the butterhorns, and the coffee this morning. Thank you, Bernie, for that. So I'm just going to review real quick what 1 Million Cups is for those of you who don't know. So 1 Million Cups, first of all, was started by the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City, Missouri. It's actually spread to about 170, 180 communities around the country. Ours is the only one currently in the state of Maryland. The next closest one is probably DC or Vienna, Virginia. The mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier for access to education, resources, and connections for entrepreneurs. The mission does not get accomplished without the pillars and the core program, which are, the pillars are, this is about presentations, not pitches, connection, not networking, culture is to be for the community, by the community, nobody has ownership of 1MC Westminster, nobody should be paid to do 1MC Westminster, and we intend to be radically inclusive. So our core program design, and this is the same design that all the 1 Million Cups programs follow, is that we meet every week, Wednesdays at 9 a.m., 2 presenters whenever possible. Today we have 1 presenter. We want those organizations to be less than 5 years old as possible. There are exceptions to that rule. And then, of course, everyone has to be willing to ask for help, which is what this is all about. So we always ask, what can we as a community do to help you? The organizing team is myself, Russ Hammett, Vicki Slinkman from Ting, John Wheatman, attorney at law, Tina Thomas from Infinite Love Project, Julia Snap from Dirigible Systems, and Gabby Rose from Magic. And with that, I will get the presentation ready to introduce Judith Veers from Share Hope Through Art. Just give me 1 second. Display. This works. Right, and that should, so this clicker is the big button. So join me in welcoming Judith Veers from Share Hope Through Art.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here physically and online, watching live or later. So I started Share Hope Through Art as a way to counter kind of the hopelessness and darkness, and trying to spread more kindness, which Be Kind Signs and Infinity Love is here. So here we go. So this is actually a paper rock that Joe Spriggs painted, and the whole message we're getting out there is the world is better with you in it. So I am now certified to do NAMI and our invoice presenter, so that's sharing my stories. You can contact NAMI Carroll County, NAMICarrollCounty@gmail, but learning about mental illness, this is me doing what I preach. So I actually want you guys to share your story. So I'm doing it, so you can too. So I actually want to do books of how you guys take a hard situation and make it better. I'll get to that in a minute, but so I'm not bragging to brag, I'm bragging to say, hey, I'm doing it, setting that example, So some projects I want to work on this year are books that have a whole bunch of different concepts. It's actually inspired by a competition I did in 2006. The company's gone, but you submitted your poem and it got published in a book. And then you bought the book. And it was kind of, there's different guidelines, but the concept is rights to individual poems or art would reside with the artist. This is a collection of, art. So they had guidelines, but it was really cool to see. I don't know. My old pen name was Jude Marie Jordan. But it was just really neat to see, and I was really glad I did it. And I'm like, I think I can do this. The business is closed, but I would love to take people's art and stories. I'm like, and I think we need to focus on Westminster first, because that's where you are. So work on, work in your home and then your neighborhood. So I hit this button.
Yeah.
So we also have Hope Rocks. I have 1,000 empty buttons that I can press. I've been doing memorial keepsake cards and bookmarks, and then I have some mural and flyers we were to develop. So this is kind of the idea of, let's write a book. So you guys here and, online, just 1 million cups. I was looking at who's presented, and I feel humbled to be here. Like, you guys have the Infinity Love, you have the Magic, you have Billy Live, who's probably coming soon. But like Wisdom Court and Find Your Purpose, Together We Own It. I love them. I was like, man, that'd be so fun to get like a chapter on so many amazing things. I already talked to Tina about it, but I'm like, I don't know if the book would sell or not, but what a fun project.
I love the idea of Westminster Good Vibes.
That's
great.
A new Facebook group, and the founder's like, yeah, totally, because she wanted to share a story. And I was like, how fun would it be to be like volume 1 of Westminster Good Vibes? I was like, if I had permission, I'm like, that'd be fun to just even have everyone here, like the people that got the Hey Westminster grants, they're fabulous, and there's so much connection. Around town, that's such a fun video, and I'm like, man, I could just quote off that and fill a book, like with what people say. And then the Community Foundation is huge. I mean, there's, I'm gonna say close to 300 funds under them, and a lot of them are Westminster based. So it's like, we could totally, do this. And I was like, it would be so fun to see, and maybe I would go for a grant to print it, so we could have it in schools. Like if I was a teenager and saw adults making a book, being like, hey, we love you and care about you, like maybe that would actually mean something to me, Like I think that would be powerful. And I have Einstein's on the only source of knowledge is experience, you need experience to gain wisdom. So I really do believe like your story matters, that each person's unique experience really will hit somebody going through it, Like my story only will work with like my narrow life experience, I think the idea that each person's stories matter is a good one. So this was the first idea, calling all artists, and that's to say yes to hope, having that concept of 100 or so submissions coming in, one-page submissions. So this is Jennifer's pictures, You Are Your Miracle, and I added the Maid in Westminster. Jill Spriggs Rock. This is my friend who does abstract art. She just goes through so much, and she does really neat things. So I'm kind of like hope to some, it's kind of what is, share hope art. And I'm like, well, I did finish a book for November, and actually did do the one for December, but it was longer because I had all my future ideas. I was like, share hope art, let's see. So I'm like, all this is like, you matter and all that, but it can be abstract. Hope isn't, you can't always put words to what you're feeling. So like the one page, it could be a picture of your garden, or your hobby, whatever it is. This is another concept, and ameliorate, my friend Jill found, is a term that takes something bad and makes it better. And my nickname growing up was Jude's, so I always got serenaded with Hey Jude. So take a sad song and make it better is in the lyrics. So I was like, it's the same term, ameliorates the same concept of that. So this could be chapters, and I kind of shared this with Casey Davis, the concept of doing a mutual fundraiser with Sony Sunshine and Share Hope on. Maybe the first one coming out with Westminster, because somebody has cancer, what do you do? Well, some people actually start a nonprofit and help everybody else dealing with cancer, And it's, what a huge legacy to leave behind. So it's like that story deserves a whole book, but I'm like, we could do a chapter, easily. Because that is a sad situation, and it's like, well, there's most likely going to be generations of people that get helped. And I felt connected because my mom died of breast cancer. So the whole, my dad was financially fine, but I'm like, the concept of you shouldn't deal with the financial struggles. Like, it's enough, you know. So what a good nonprofit that Sunny Sunshine Help is on the way. So this concept, what is your struggle sad song? How have you improved it? Any words of encouragement for those going through it? And I wanted to share with this one, it's also, sometimes the sad song, maybe it's not in your life, it's something you're doing. So many nonprofits, it's like somebody adopting somebody, that's like changing a life. That is huge. Or fostering, or, you know, I'm not sure like why you guys are here putting this on, giving like somebody that's a stay-at-home mom a space to present. But I mean, that is huge. Like that helps people that like, you know, don't really have an audience, like an audience, you know. I was like, that's a big deal. I'm like, I don't know the heart behind it, but I'm like, I would love the backstory. Like, why does, you know, how many people have a great idea and are turned away? When I did Share Hope Through Art, like I presented it to a church, and they're like, no, like, we want nothing to do with suicide prevention. This is not what we do here, you know. But I'm like, okay, so the community is like, yes, you know, and I'm like, that's huge. I was like, I kind of feel like this is kind of like my small group kind of. I was like, you guys are fabulous and supportive, and I'm like, sometimes it's about what you do, not what you preach. You know, there's a lot of people that preach some great things, and I'm like, I don't know if they're walking it or not. It's not me to judge, but you guys are walking an awesome. Like, so that's the Sony Sunshine. So one, remembering their legacy. I think this year I want to do like chapters. In the future, I would love to do whole books, you know, on just remembering their legacy. So it's like my mom, you know, she did have a miscarriage, breast cancer, chronic pain. She became a foster mom. She adopted, like that hole in your heart. She filled it by helping others. She actually became a massage therapist, you know, because she knew what pain was. And when she knew she wasn't going to make it, she had a resurrection party, you know, like what a way to teach your children how to go, you know, like that's huge. And like, it's kind of mere, you know, Sonia reminds me of, you know, that example, you know, she had a huge party near the end, like the whole, I didn't get to go, but the whole magical, like I saw snow getting blown off the roof, and
It was magical.
You know, but what a way to teach everyone, like it's an amazing thing, what people can do. So this is kind of the, you know, we're all gonna go sometime, but we can remember those who went and honor them, and I'm like, it'd be neat to have like books on people, you know, and I have a friend who, I shared all the different book ideas, and she said, I like this one, because she's like, her relative was murdered, and all she saw was the criminal on like newspapers, and it was like, you know, it's like, she's like, no one knows how awesome, you know, her sister was, you know, and it's like, she's like, I want her story to be remembered, like, not how she died, you know, and there's a lot of tragedies, and, you know, so it's kind of like the positive. It's like suicides, we don't need to remember how they died. A lot of them had really amazing lives, and we're fighting that's not the way to go, but I'm like, they still had a great life up to that day, you know, a lot of them. So sharing the positives. This is living your legacy. So this is like my little bookmark. So what do I want people to remember about me? Celebrate life, do what you can, and you matter. And there's a flip to it. But this is also the concept of, you can have a book on, I have a friend that works with, Nancy, who works with the elderly population at a church. I was like, I would love to come in and just like, give me your wisdom. Let's like write like all of your wisdom down. Because it's like, I talked to your mother-in-law a lot. Because I'm like, you know, I want to hear your stories. Like, it was different. So different 50 years ago here. And it's like, we're going this whole other realm of, you know, reality. And, you know, so like some things I almost feel like we could go back in some areas. Like some things are really good. And some things, you know, we don't want to go back to. But, so this is a workshop idea. And I was thinking like find your purpose would be a cool workshop. But then I'm like, well, my purpose changes, you know, like when you're a mom, it changes drastically than when you're like a single adult that can go on to Kenya or Mexico, you know, like, so it's kind of my purpose isn't, you know, now I happen to get sick traveling, but you know, my purpose totally changed. So it's kind of like, you have a purpose, find what it is today, because it's gonna, you know, life, you know, there's stages and changes, and you know, you can make the most of wherever you are. Hope Rock Garden. So I did a whole bunch of rocks. So we had COVID also over the holidays, but Stanton had it first, and we were stuck home. So I painted a ton of rocks, and I'm like, they're like big rocks. So I would love to do like an exhibit of like traveling rocks places. And I feel all for your Be Kind signs were spray painted. I hope Infinity Love Be Kind signs. People just go berserk and buy tons and do all that. But then I was like, man, if I put my rocks out and they were spray painted, they're like one of a kind. They're like hours of work. So now I'm kind of like, huh. It makes me think though, if there's somebody spreading, you know, trying to be dark in this society, you know, we need a, you know, counter it. I'm like, I need to be wise too. I was like, we need to put them where cameras are, you know. Sad thing, but yeah, what we're doing matters because there are people that, you know, walking around angry or whatever the reason. Oh, I'm going the wrong line.
No, it went backwards by accident.
Okay. So I have this flyer online already where you can do the border of it. But I like the idea of like anyone can create a flyer. Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a beautiful butterfly. The concept of it's funny because some people are like the hotline's not the answer because it is like, you know what Together We Own It does and like that whole support and everything. But it still helps for, you know, there's a lot of preventative, but it's still good to have the information out there. This is at the library right now for January, so I want to find more places to do art displays. So that's in their case. So this is actually like laminated rocks. So I would love to do laminated pictures of rocks that are painted. And there's like a little hole at the top. And it would be so fun to have them like plastered all over, especially like for September. Like that would just be so neat to have them like in windows, like the positive things. And if those get stolen, that's fine. We just print another and laminate it. And we have one garden, Hope Rock Garden, at the library now. Too. Going the wrong way again. So, input one. So, how you guys can share your story and like the logistics to it. I have a website that I could use some help with. Advertising ideas to get submissions. My do-it-yourself art shops, that store actually closed. So I was like, I'd love to have like a space people could come and make art. I have a really cute apartment, but I'm like, it's in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, I would totally be fine with like females coming, but I'm like, I don't know how to. I almost feel like people would be happier like going like to a public place. I don't know. I have no idea. So the idea of doing different books and 50% going somewhere else is something I want to do. So this is what I did, you know, just through November. Like this is more like a timeline of everything we did. And then I'm also still, when I talked about sharing your story, I actually wrote this at like 23 as a dare. So that's my autobiography. There's like songs in it, so you can't sell it because it's copyright wrong. But you know, I was like, every story matters. And I still have some of these for sale, and we're working on editing the Crap Happens philosophy too. Because I'm like, and this is all of this is kind of like how do you deal with crap? Like, you know, all the positivity. I was like, this is kind of the answer. It's like taking those awful situations and making them better. It's kind of teaching. Through like, you know, people's experience. So
Thank you, Julia. All right, so time for questions. I know I have a question, but anybody else here have a question?
Go for it. I'll be
Okay, and of course, anyone on Facebook, please put your questions in the comments. So for the rocks, do you is part of it to distribute them like in places where people will find them? Like I've seen some rocks and people do these initiatives where like you'll be walking down a sidewalk and you'll see a painted rock. Are you distributing them that way, or is that part of what
it's a combination. It's kind of I think the idea of gardens would be a fun idea. I think Westminster Rocks is already huge. And Suicide Prevention Rocks, that's one story I'd love to share, the Joshua York Foundation. They got the Guinness Book of World Records for most painted rocks.
Wow.
I think it got beat a couple months later, but it was like over I don't even remember how many, like over 20,000, I think, rocks painted they got, and then they distributed them. So it's kind of just encouraging making art to get out in the community as a way. And I think for COVID, I mean, that's such a great thing to be able to do from home.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of a combination. So
is there a whole rock painting subculture out there?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
There is.
There it is. Oh, it's,
Yeah.
it's huge.
It's even paint for specific rock painting subculture.
Oh.
It's a huge art that's taken off. I have friends that like they did for Mother's Day. She said they did the whole old golf course. They like did it, you know.
Oh, wow.
I think positive. She said because a lot of single moms. We put it out there so kids could give it to their moms as a gift, because you know. But yeah, there's a huge rock painting culture.
Where are you getting the rocks from?
People find them and buy them off the internet. They go places. There's a Westminster Rocks place that sometimes gives them out. That you can buy them there.
'Cause they're always like sort of
buckets.
smooth and round.
Yeah,
right?
so there's kind of, some people do find them when they're not as smooth, but a lot of people buy them off the internet. Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, I didn't know about it, and then I think I found the Suicide Prevention Rocks, which is under the Joshua York Foundation. And I would love to do a book with them, and I shared that with them, and we're talking a little bit, but I'm like, just a book on like the beautiful rocks. You could have like one on each page and just like flip through it. Like what a cool like coffee table book.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, questions, well, more comments than questions for collaborative purposes. I love what you're doing. I love
Thank
your
you.
energy. You're a very positive light in the community, and so I'm so grateful for you.
Likewise.
We were talking, the Infinite Love Project is working with the Carroll Arts Council to develop a series of workshops in the spring. And so I'd like to include Share Hope Through Art
That would be incredible.
as one of the art sessions in
Yeah.
the collaboration. Same with the rocks. So we can talk about putting that together.
That'd be great.
And then another question would be, do you have any aspiration, or is it a good potential thing besides putting together a book that can then help fund you to keep going, because you still need to be able to keep everything going. Putting together perhaps a little, paint kit, like paint your own rock kit, where the majority of the proceeds would go to the nonprofits in the community, so that the community wants to support you. They may or may not come out to a sharing your art paint event. But perhaps, and that's what we learned about at BeKindSign.com and Infinite Love Project, is if you put a kit together for them to paint their own, they love that idea. Some people just take that and run with it. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts about that.
That is a great idea. Yeah.
Because the community's ready to step up. It's just they all have their own pace and their own space, and so it's just trying to find the right fit.
Well, that would be like, a funding issue to get that started too. So we get donations, but we're pretty much, I think we're spent. So I think we've gotten less than 300 since we started. So that's all, with everything.
So are you a 501c3?
I'm under the Community
Community
Foundation.
Foundation. So the answer is yes. Under the
Yes,
Community
I
Foundation,
am. Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Did you
talk
set-
about your structure and getting some things rolling for you.
Are you set up? Is Share Hope Through Art set up as a corporation? No.
It's just under the
Your
Community Foundation.
Sole prop.
Okay, got
You're a
it.
sole proprietor. You're not an LLC or anything. You're just a sole proprietor.
501c3.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's just to say that there isn't a corporate entity like an LLC or a corporation for Share Hope Through Art yet that you could write off your own expenses.
it's
I can write off my
a nonprofit
expenses. I have an expense form.
Oh, okay.
And then I have my donation
Yeah,
form.
it helps you become a nonprofit.
So I put my donations in, and then I get expense for anything I buy.
Oh, okay.
So I've done one big donation drop. I have another one, but we had COVID, so it's kind of like I had the fatigue for like almost 3 weeks. Like it's still kind of there, but it was like last week. I was like, "There's no way." I was like, getting out of bed was hard. So but I have another like deposit deposit type of thing.
Well,
to
like,
do.
so your expenses for your books, for example, not talking about donations to the organization for the community foundation, but like you spend money on stuff. Can she write that stuff off personally?
Nope.
No, if she's getting reimbursed.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So I can get reimbursed for the ones that are connected. Right before the holidays, I did a photo album for. I did 5 books, but it was like they were almost done. But I'm still waiting on those. But that one I might just take the cost because one's an updated version of this one and that one. I might try to expense just the specific. I'm like shipping. I don't know how to. That's expensive too. But yeah, the buttons I was able to get the donation and have it go through the nonprofit to buy the buttons. Because we're still planning on doing the suicide prevention walks, which we did this year, or I did this year. So Out of the Darkness in September. So I'm hoping to have enough for Carroll County and to give to them to do all the other 10 walks in Maryland.
If you had, sorry, the other questions? Other questions on Facebook? Oh, sorry, Leah.
So on the book, is your idea to do something like that Humans of New York that you thought about having like the stories compartmentalized? So it's an image and a little story that person, basically tells about themselves in a few pages. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it.
So Humans of New York is there have like viral accounts online, right? And it became a book later on. I believe they started with a Facebook or Instagram account. And what he does, I think it's a guy, I really don't know, doesn't matter. He meets someone randomly, and or he picks at the street, doesn't matter either. And he takes a picture of that person, he talks to that person, and then he posts the picture with the story of that person.
That does sound really neat.
So that could be something like, histories of stories. I don't know how we wanted to combine it. Could be maybe some sad stories, but hopefully some happy, mostly or all happy stories, and stories of overcoming difficulties, and follow that format. That's a mix of visual and storytelling.
Okay, because I was thinking in the future doing different ones, but I'm thinking this year just combining it all as one. Because I'm like, if I get one final, like this is fun to just be like, so what's, this is my year end thing, but that'd be fun to just have kind of a combination that have some stories already submitted and some people working on them. So
it'd be interesting to see that format and see if you have
Even if you just call it Humans of Westminster.
right.
Huh?
Even if you just called it Humans of Westminster, because people who know about Humans of New York would immediately understand.
Exactly.
I wonder if that's copyrighted.
Probably not. Humans of Westminster probably is.
So you can still take somebody's
Humans
concept,
off.
I guess.
You think he trademarked the
Humans
humans off?
Nah.
That's unlikely.
Yeah. No, I
But,
think.
it could have another name, or could have for social media purpose. I believe you would be able to get a Instagram or Facebook at Humans of Westminster, or Humans of Carroll County, or something, right? To broad up a little bit. And one of the benefits is that if you split up in multiple stories, you're gonna have more social media content.
Well,
This
that's
is
another.
one thing. The second thing is that if you split up the story into multiple small parts, you keep it more interesting, because it's it's kind of, it could potentially, and I don't know, I'm just throwing out, potentially, if it's too long, talking about someone you don't know, it's hard to keep the reading interesting. So if you shorten up and you concise the stories to the main special, like, highlights of that whole conversation or interview, right? It's you're gonna get probably a better, like, shortest one. Like I can read like 2 pages, 1 story per day. In 6 months I read the book and I love it, right? That type of things. Third thing, if you record those interviews, right? You produce content that you can then edit, extract the audio for podcasts, or just you have a YouTube account about the same, following that exactly same thing that you're going to be doing already, which is talking to people, to hear them.
That would be neat.
Fun ideas.
That's a lot of fun
Those are
ideas.
great ideas. No, this,
Yeah.
he's totally on the right track because you are
Yeah.
a content producing machine.
Yes, you are.
You are.
The amount of books that you're writing.
You are.
If you told other people's stories and little snippets that were
Yeah.
consumable on social media or videos or podcasting,
Yeah.
In a
you would
serial
have
type
you'd be your
format
own
where you don't get the whole thing at once, but it's in
Right.
a serial format, so that
Yeah.
people can, in bite-sized, digestible pieces.
It could still be share hope through art. It could be share hope, and then that could have share hope through stories, share hope through.
Yeah, I want to do different volumes. So I don't know if it'll be like a volume.
You
I
can,
don't know,
you can
version 1,
split-
version 2, or volume 1. I don't know if it'll have to be under, like if it's Westminster Good Vibes, I don't know if I can have volume 2 on stories of
you
hope.
can-
that-
You can split that up in volumes, or you can split that up geographically.
It'll just
Yeah.
take a little bit of
Well, I would
thought
love
and
to
planning.
do with, forget what it's, Patricia, her organization. It'd be fun to do like a book that's globally, like that you get art from around the world.
Expanding boundaries.
Yeah, expanding boundaries. Thank you.
Yeah.
As
Letitia.
Letitia, I said it
Oh, I
wrong.
talked to her yesterday. She said to say hi to everybody.
Aww. Doesn't that be so
I
neat
would
to
think-
do one that's, because I have friends from different countries and stuff, but like just having like even including the question of like, what's your favorite food or favorite hobby, just to kind of break that whole cultural barrier. And, there's some really, like I have things made from different countries. They're just really beautiful. Like, be fun to do, different geographically,
I know that Graham had one more question, but I have one more if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The significance of September. You've mentioned
Suicide
September a couple of
Prevention
times.
Month.
Okay. Thank you.
Kind of like I hope
Suicidal
something.
Prevention Month, right? What is it? Suicidal Prevention Month?
That's
Yes.
the month they chose.
Which is good.
Yeah, but that's when all the Out of the Darkness walks
take
take place. Yeah, so.
Cool. I'm looking forward to the
So-
walk.
If you had, go ahead, Tiffany from Dirigible Systems.
Represent. Let you know this. So September is also the time when kids go back to school, and a lot of kids went back to school this year, and we're having a lot of problems with it. This might be something that you want to do to help break them out of, or when they transition to like a high school, maybe for the freshmen, to do with the freshmen in high school. Maybe get yourself associated with them. I know personally people having problems this year because of
Isolation.
the isolation.
On top of being, like a middle schooler who's dealing with the whole being a teenager thing to begin with.
Right.
So you might want to maybe get into the, have like a
Outreach specifically targeting that age group. I know there's, like, they have mental health first aid. I think they actually have one training teens and youth to do it. Like I know NAMI has one that's focused on getting people, I think under 25, to do talks in high schools, sharing their stories. So I know there's a lot that they're doing, and I'm like, I would love to do something locally too, though.
like maybe get in with CCYSB, Carroll County Youth.
True, because I did their Hope and Healing Fair, and that was their suicide prevention. That's a
And
great
that's why a lot of
idea.
schools try to send their kids
Okay.
to. So
I didn't know.
and then maybe and then a lot of them have like peer groups within the schools.
Right.
Just maybe reach out to the school system itself to some kids just don't know how to verbalize it, but they can draw.
Right. Yeah, and that's when I did the walk. I had a lot of people coming and just taking rocks, being like, "We want to do this, or we are,
Or
The
maybe
concept.
do it on T-shirts. Something that they can
Those are
wear
great
around.
questions too. Yeah.
That way through art, rock it out, wear it out.
That's
Something
fun.
like that,
I like
yeah.
that. I'm glad this is video because I'm not taking notes. But I'm like, I'll watch it later. Rock it out, wear it out. I know like Hope Rocks Gardens, just because Hope rocks.
Yeah.
But the concept of that.
And then the T-shirts could, wear it out, go rock it out,
Yeah.
and put the location of where the rock gardens are on the T-shirts or something like that. So
Partner with Billy and be like, when he has his dance parties, they carry the rockin' out shirts too.
there you go.
So I had an idea with him. It would be fun to have a shirt that has like all of our logos on the back.
Yeah.
You know, like all of us can. There's not.
And then you can have like somebody design the front of it,
Right.
and then have a design a month or something like that. The design of the
I
month.
love
or
that
like-
idea, and having like a group doing it.
Yes.
Because there's websites where you can actually get shirts. People can order them without you having any initial cost, I think, even.
Correct.
So,
Print on demand.
right. So I think that would be a fun way to.
In fact, Maryland Print House is starting a portal for doing just that. So there's a
Oh, neat.
local resource for T-shirts that can do orders that way as well.
Because you know the Infinity Love thing, the Be Kind is all over the place, and that's
Right.
going out and that's promoting them. You could have shirts promoting where your rock gardens are and promoting, you know, the positive messages you're both trying to send.
Right. So we can. I think some partnerships would be neat. Because I feel like for me, it's like
Oh, you know.
I'm doing this as a volunteer, as a full-time mom. So it's kind of like a
Passion
hoping. It's a passion.
that you're hoping leads to something more.
Yeah, I'm hoping it. End up making
I
it
think
a
it,
career.
I really think it could.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to my guys because they do technical stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I don't do tech. That's not my strength. So I was like, I need partnerships to take it to the next level.
So Judith, I guess my listening to you today, my feedback would be find your core focus. Your funding is looking for funding. You've got rocks, you got stickers, you got labels, you got books. You got a lot of. You got to find your core.
I think it's the books.
But here's the thing: when I ride on the Beltway and I look over and I see this "Be Kind" sign on the Beltway wall, I know who it is, and I chuckle every time.
Yeah.
I really do. So you've got to find your passion. You got the passion. You got to really focus. There's a lot of ideas. But you got to package and say, what I want to do in 22.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, and then you can focus on that and,
Yeah.
and find your funding and grants and stuff like that. But I hear a lot of stuff that's going to dilute you.
I
Find your
have.
passion.
Well, that's why
I have one
having the
idea.
shirts relate to
I
the
have
rocks, having the rocks relate to
Right.
the books, having tying it all together and streamlining your message. Yeah.
No, fair enough, but you still have to fund it.
Yeah. No. But you can take the money from selling the shirts to fund this, to fund that, and
Right.
but all have it
I
going
have the idea.
to.
Leo has another idea.
Yeah. I have done a lot of non-profit work in my life, and like it. And also, I myself am a suicidal survivor, and this touches me, personal level, and I believe there's a huge potential of what you're doing, right? And I believe the books are great, but we're living on an audio-visual society. Okay, the world is moving to YouTube and video and reels and stories.
TikTok.
We're running on video right now.
Okay.
Okay, and so I haven't been in the community whatever media center here. Okay, and I think, and I was talking to them to have a show on the channel 92.
Okay.
And I think you should do it.
You gonna do it together? That would be great. Because we got, we're both, if you're, the fact you're open to talk about it is huge.
I believe you, yeah, we can do it.
I don't even have television. We don't even have Netflix. Like, I am very ancient. Like, what do you want?
Well, that's endearing.
We got VHS.
That's charming.
I choose it. You know what VHS is? I got a VHS player. I got like 3 because they keep breaking.
I wonder how you can get the content for that now.
The cool thing about CMC, the Community Media Center, is they are so community oriented and focused that they have the formats also that you get to make the call. Right now, there's a series that they do that are only 10 minutes long. Well, anywhere from 8 to 11 minutes long, where a gentleman just talks to somebody in the community about what they're doing in and for the community. So from a time standpoint, you get to set the format. You can work with them as to how it can plug in.
I think they have a 30-minute or 1 hour cap of how much one episode of something can last. But they give you all the equipment. We may even get people to work to produce everything.
Wow.
and they
Great
publish online. So it's not so you know. Let's just say besides the putting online potential, you have the opportunity for people that that's not going to read the book. The book has the advantage of a bigger outreach outside the boundaries of Carroll County, but for Carroll County, for the cable TV channel, if you have like 1 hour per week to talk about some one stories, I think like it's unparalleled.
This is your Bob. Sorry, Leah. This is your Bob Ross moment here.
Okay.
Because seriously, if you ever watched the documentary about how Bob Ross got started, how he got public access, and he's helping people talk through emotional stuff while he's painting.
Well, and I would love to have artists come on and do their.
Well, you could be painting a rock while you're discussing something with somebody. And then at the end of it, you show your rock. And with the trend of people painting rocks,
they're painting the rock. While they're talking,
But I don't think
while they're
I
talking,
feel like
both
writing,
of
like, I'm
them
not sure
can be
people
painting
writing
the
them,
rock
this
and
is
write
hard for
something,
me,
and then at the end they show the.
Yeah,
right.
no, he's
Well,
saying
come on up,
your
come on up, this'll be
your
fine.
guest could be painting a rock.
You should come up. Come on, you can do it with me.
Well, wait, but seriously, I think Leo's basically suggesting.
On your side.
Nice meeting you.
There you go.
So we may end up doing some videos.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, let's end on that note. How about that? All right. That's great. And actually, do you mind if I share what I had done with the book?
Sure, go ahead.
All right,
and I
just
had somebody
because-
do audio.
Let me keep the book up here for a second. So I was helping Judith with re-envisioning the Crap Happens philosophy book, right? Because
Great title.
which is a great title,
I
right?
changed it.
I love the title.
Yeah.
You changed it?
I changed it from crappy life philosophy because life doesn't
Oh.
have to be crappy.
Right.
Because it happens, but it doesn't have. You can deal with it. Hopefully. Yeah. It's still there though, but you can manage peacefully, totally aware.
Yes, good. All right, so can I share? So I just wanted to share with you all real quick, since we're on the topic of Judith. So the Crap Happens philosophy, when I read it, I was like, it was hard for me to focus on any given message, right? And I think
So much.
it's a lot of content. And I think this speaks to the suggestions about your content producing machine. Like, if anybody could do what Leo's suggesting, it's you.
Thank you.
Right, and so all I was trying to do was like, how am I going to put Judith on the Today Show, right? And I think it's with a book like this, The Crap Happens Philosophy, because it's like chicken soup for the soul. It's like all those things, and there's always a book like this. You could be the J.K. Rowling of self-help, right, or suicide prevention. And I thought, well, if just put it in a slightly more, easily conveyed image. I thought, you've got a platter on here with, is it painted poop?
I was, so my drinking days, I was a teenager. I did these drawings when I was a teenager. So they're, 20 plus years old.
Right, so she's got a lot of stuff she did as a teenager in here as well. And I thought, well, let's just clean it up a little bit, organize some of these thoughts. And all I did was just, and this was just a suggestion. Now, the reason why I wanted to share this is because I can't do it. I don't have time. But if there's a graphic designer out there or an editor that can help Judith with this book, I've at least started the process of organizing this book into easier to read slide. So this was a lot of editing actually. So I know you see a lot of text here, and I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like I actually those 3 pages were about 5 pages worth of content that I got down to 3 pages. So it still needs some work, but all the stuff that's in here is gold, right? It's all great advice. And I think it just needs somebody who can volunteer and help Judith, who knows graphic design, who knows some simple publishing stuff. So this is just I did like the first 12 pages, I think. And I consolidated, I think it was up to about 17 pages or so into 12 pages. And I kept as much of the style choices that Judith had originally made with like the fonts and stuff like that, because I didn't want to like not have it represent Judith. But anyway, I just want to share that real quick. So somebody out there who's watching, who's a graphic designer, who can help volunteer, because I think the Crap Happens philosophy, once this is cleaned up a little bit, I think we could put together a press release, send it to the Today Show, Good Morning America, and try to get
That could
Judith
be
Get
my
more
on
like
first
doing
reason.
on national
podcasts.
television. And maybe the Crap Happens philosophy is the branding around the podcast or the videos or things like that. Like, you know, it's endearing. It kind of makes people go, what? You know, it kind of stops them when they read it. And that's what you want. You want to grab
Right.
people's attention. I think that's going to be very effective in terms of your goal and your mission of suicide prevention. Anyway, all right, so that's all. I just wanted to share that real
Or
quick.
those shoebox calendar things, you just, you know, have a daily crap happens.
Actually, I got further along than I thought. I got two chapters done. So anyway, oh no, this is the rest of the book. I'm sorry, these are your pages.
Okay.
All right, so I did the first 12 pages. That's what I did.
And I did another version where I used your thing and changed it too. So
Oh really?
this is an
Okay.
example. It's in their processing. So I did 5 of them.
Oh okay.
So 3 for kids, that one, and the updated beginning of Sharehood. So yeah.
I mean, like I said, you're a content producing machine. You're writing like a book a month, right? That's what you're like
I
tasking
wrote
yourself.
a ton of them in the past. I have no goals. I was like, I just do what I gotta do. And it goes fast.
All right. All right, they're conspiring to help you. Okay.
I love it.
All right. Great presentation again, Judy. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing out Benny. It's great to have you here. In
I
space.
know, but that's a lot of the idea of the books is also like I have my son, so
Yeah, right.
trying to do a video with him. I was like, he is being pretty perfect out back there.
Well, that's what made me think of, like, that's why I said the J.K. Rowling, because that was the thing. She was a single mom, she had kids, and she wrote Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's totally possible to be a media mogul, you know, in
Yeah.
your circumstances. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have any community updates? Anybody want to get up and talk about, do you want to talk about what happened to the signs and how you're responding to it? It's the talk of the town. Tina from Infinite Love Project.
Good morning. This is so fun, us all collaborating. The Infinite Love Project's signature initiative, the Be Kind Signs, is a community connector. They were born from the frustration of the community becoming so divisive, and we learned that somebody decided to put their own mark on the signs, basically blacking out the message of being kind. So, yeah, there we go. Yes. So it was initially heart-wrenching. We took a big, deep breath, and then we're grateful that the community has rallied behind us, because it is, for the community, totally helping us connect our positivity. And so people are stepping up to say that they will sponsor the replacement of a sign, just donating, $10 here, $20 there to help with the replacement costs. We're so grateful. We have other collaborations coming out of this happening. We're just we are creating Socrates a lot, where there's somebody out there who the people who need the most love, or the people who are the hardest to love, are the ones who need the most love. So we're hoping that if and when the person is discovered who has done this, we all are okay with giving this person one big huge hug, because apparently that person needs a big hug. And then moving on from this, we're working with the city to make the Be Kind Signs official art installations, and moving forward, asking the community, where would you like to see the signs? We've kind of been random in putting them up, but one of the bigger inspiring initiatives that is coming out of this are the ready to paint signs. When you can paint your own sign. We have an event in Hampstead that's coming up next Wednesday where you can paint your own sign. We're working with the Art Center with the Carroll County Arts Council in putting together sessions and workshops at the Art Center that you can paint your own signs, and having them put them up in sponsored locations. So we have some other magical things in the works that I can't reveal yet, but I'm excited about the momentum that the Be Kind initiative has taken off, that the community has embraced it, that it's helping to be what we were hoping it would be, a connector of positive people in the din of negativity and the things that could be going wrong. We're finding the people doing good works and the things that are going right. So that's the update on the signs. They are beginning to be replaced slowly. If you know of a sign that's been damaged or hurt in any way, please get on message us through Facebook or on our website, bekindsign.com. You can send us an email and let us know, and we'll put it in our queue.
Do you have a way for people to donate to having these replaced?
Yes, we have Venmo is at Infinite Love Project. I believe PayPal is also PayPal.me/Infinite Love Project. So if you'd like to assist us with the cost of replacement, that'd be great.
Because this represents what, like $100, $120 worth of signs maybe that need to be replaced?
Approximately. Well, they actually, you can tell the difference. These are 4 foot.
Right.
This is the standard 3 foot.
Oh, that's a standard one. Oh, okay, gotcha.
And this standard 3 foot Maryland goes for,
So it's
like a $45, $50
right,
piece.
okay.
So when it comes to the 4 foot ones,
So we're talking about $200+ worth of materials and signs, yeah.
and then there's the time up and down. Of course, that's kind of Eric's,
Right.
his fun time. I'm going and installing today. So yeah.
So if anyone wants to donate to replacing these specifically, they can go on your website and
They can. What was that called?
Stained
glass effect. I actually took some time and I was like, oh, yay, this is my chance to paint my own Be Kind sign. So I did, and I did a stained glass effect one. So that has been replaced by one that I painted.
Okay.
I'm so excited. So, and that's where we're working with the community. This is, this is by the community for the community. So painting your own sign and putting it up where people can see it that's the fun initiative that we've got going on now. So thank you for that.
Any questions for you? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you for letting me give the update, and I guess we'll head on now.
Unless somebody else wants an update real quick.
Update?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how to use this, but the Paint Your Own Rocks, I remember the Joshua York Foundation, the Suicide Prevention Rocks, they already do that. So they have a kit where you can order it to paint your own rocks. And I like their foundation too, so it does exist, and they're in Maryland too, so yes.
Okay.
Plug them.
Leah, got update? Somebody bring up sustainable energy.
Thank you. Well, yeah, few updates. One is that we're pushing up to revamp a marketing company that I have that does social media management and design, and etc., and podcast creation. We want to work on. So it seems like we got already one entity to help here, and my own. We're gonna be working on it. So a bunch of stuff going on that side. We're gonna have more updates in the near future, and hopefully a lot of content. And on sustain energy, we had a major breakthrough, major, which is that we, a piece of the fund that we were working on, we got covered, which is the sponsor equity of the fund, that we got a bank on board.
Wow.
So we have a blank check now in our hands to deploy as much as solar and clean technology possible. Right? And that creates the necessity for the other side to come on board. which is the tax equity investor. Okay, so if you that are watching here, or anyone, your friends that have tax liability, right? Instead of paying the RS, talk to Rick here on your accountant to see if instead of paying tax to the RS, you can use that tax liability you have to help us build solar systems. So you're gonna save your money there, you're gonna get a good return. We're paying very well on dollar per dollar that you invest in a very short period of time. And that money is gonna go to a solar energy asset that's gonna give you a cash flow for the future, right? So, instead of putting the money to Uncle Sam, put to work for you to save your money in the environment. Okay? Thank you.
Well, that's awesome news. That was awesome news. Thanks for updating us on that. This is 1 Million Cups, and we're in Westminster, and we're grateful to the Startup Portal for hosting us here, and to Magic for originating this and sponsoring it, and to Genie Bird for the coffee, the go-go juice, and treats, I must say. I had a bun of today, and it was delish. Thank you, Bernie. Come and check us out online at 1millioncups.com/Westminster. Apply to present. We have an amazing community here ready to support you, help you figure out where your trajectory should be. If you kind of like, I have so much opportunity, I don't know where to go. We've got the people here who have been there, done that in some cases, and just have awesome perspectives to help you hone what you're trying to accomplish and help you get there. So that's what 1 Million Cups is all about. I'm grateful we're here in Westminster. So have a great week. See you next week.